We always like to grade the different showcases that we watch using the Kind of Funny scale, which is 1 to 10. I would like to kick that off, if that's okay with you guys. I think that this is not only one of the best showcases Xbox has ever put on, I think it's one of the best gaming showcases ever done. I would give this a 10 on the Kind of Funny scale. Masterpiece. I think it's important to keep in mind, 10 does not mean perfect. I think this was missing a couple key release dates that we really should have got by now, but I'm sure they're just not ready for that, and we'll get to them at another point. The pacing, the production, the amount of announcements of new IP that look awesome, the updates on games we wanted to see, the big megaton. We hope that they're here. We cross our fingers. Is there going to be a one more thing? Will it deliver? It's Gears, baby. They did it. Perfect Dark was here. We saw gameplay of it. I just feel like so much of this stuff was, this is the dominoes. This is it. This is all happening, everyone. Bless, what about you?
Yeah, I gave it a 9.5. I think this showcase was very well-rounded. I thought it was very paced well. I thought the production was great. The Call of Duty showcase was one where going into this, like, I was of the mind of, all right, cool, we're going to see what we always see with Call of Duty. I like the fact that they took the Xbox developer _direct and directized what the Call of Duty showcase was, where it was us seeing the developers, us getting comments from them breaking down why they seem excited for this year's Call of Duty. I feel like that's the thing that I'm usually missing out of it. I think they did such a great job with that. I think the surprises were there. Even though Doom was leaked, Doom was still such a great trailer, and it was surprising and awesome. Seeing the fucking chainsaw shield was super sick. Seeing the mech, the sick-ass hair, like, Doom looks incredible. And for me, I think the biggest thing for this showcase is when I look at showcases like this, the thing that I look forward to is seeing the case made for either the rest of the year or even the year after. And I think they made such a strong case for what the fall looks like and what 2025 looks like. And so, yeah, shout out to MGS Delta, which had a great showing as well. Woo! Perfect Dark, mixtape, and then, of course, Life is Strange, the new one. All those look fantastic. And yeah, I think the showcase was, I agree with you. I think this is one of the best Xbox showcases in the last decade, if not the best one. And yeah, like, I think the only thing that could have brought it to a 10 for me would have been like a just out of nowhere, like, announcement we weren't expecting that was like a Half-Life 3 or something fucking crazy like that. But even regardless, like, 9.5, one of the best Xbox showcases ever, I think.
Mike.
Tim, come on now, team. Come on now, ladies and gentlemen. That was one hell of a showcase. That is a 10 out of a 10. That will go down as one of the best gaming showcases of all time. Just like Bless said, that is the best Xbox showcase. There has to have been. And right now, that's one that we will look back on and smile and go, man, do you remember after all that time of acquiring Bethesda and Activision Blizzard King, and we questioned, do they have the games? Do they have the right stuff? This was finally them showing, hey, we have the games. And now we have the lineup, and we're going to back it up with all of that. And it was really awesome to see. I think a really special one for me on this showcase was, of course, showcasing all the talented developers underneath the Microsoft umbrella, but also having the third-party games to come and really support, right? I think that was a big thing we're missing with Jeff Keighley's Summer Game Showcase this summer, where we talked about, like, people have to come and support these things. 2 hours to fill is a long time to get a bunch of trailers from your own internal teams to really make this pop. And we saw big third-party teams show up. I mean, EA brought Dragon Age, right? That was awesome to see live and in action. Of course, you'll have Assassin's Creed with Ubisoft, which we know they're everywhere, but, like, that continues to build up your showcase and go, man, you had some really awesome games to go along with your first-party titles, which I really, really like. My one critique is we still have question marks for this year, which is very odd. I know we're in a new world now, and I think it's the right world of let's not put these developers in a box and write it in ink, as Todd said, with these release dates, right? But it is odd that we still continue to keep windows, and also 2 games that we were expecting this year with Aura History Untold and Towerborn, just not there, no release dates in sight, but you're supposed to be 2024. And so it gives them the wiggle room, which is the correct way, right? Like, when you're ready, let's give you a window. I would prefer we can continue the year because we only have 6 months now, but I like that. But it is odd to me that I look down the list and go, man, we still have question marks of, like, this year's games, which is Starfield, Shattered Space DLC, no release date on that. Avowed, no release date. Indiana Jones, no release date. Just 2024, which is fine with me, but it is interesting of, like, the biggest and the baddest. We're not putting dates on the board anymore, but I think that's the new age of what we see. But all in all, you look back on this, that was a hell of a time. And then to see Gears of War, E-Day, come on. If you're an Xbox fan, if you're just a gamer in general, you're going to go wild for that. To have a young Marcus Phoenix, Dom, the brotherhood, the unity, what we're going to see on Emergence Day, right? You think about Gears of War 1, we didn't start at day one. We started when they were already in the COG army fighting for it. It's going to be really cool to see that. I'm interested to see how you capture that horror, that kind of wow factor, right? Of like, we already know the Locust Horde. We've seen so much of it. How do you still get me to kind of feel that creepy crawly moment? How do you get me to go, oh, wow, I'm actually scared when I kind of know the enemy? But
how sick was it seeing Marcus Phoenix being like really, really scared in one of those moments, like fighting for his life out there?
But yeah, 10 out of 10, Tim, and they still have plenty of games to come. World of Warcraft being there, Diablo, we're going to go down the list. Awesome showcase.
This episode of Kinda Funny is brought to you by Punkel, the developers behind Vampire Survivors. Did you know that Vampire Survivors is out on just about everything? That's right, you can play it this very second on PC, Xbox, Switch, and mobile. And if that wasn't enough, it's coming to PlayStation this summer with a Platinum Trophy, and I just so happen to be stoked. Why? Because it's awesome! Vampire Survivors is a gothic horror casual game with roguelike elements where your choices can allow you to quickly snowball against the hundreds of monsters that get thrown at you. Mow down thousands of night creatures and survive until dawn. Pick your character, spend your gold on power-ups, and get to being the bullet hell in the game that features absolutely zero vampires. Ponkel even just released the new DLC Operation Guns featuring the classic and timeless Konami IP, Contra. We've been talking about this game for years, so there's no reason not to support it now. It's as affordable as a cup of coffee. Get Vampire Survivors on your platform of choice this very second, and thank Ponkel for sponsoring Kinda Funny.
Andy Cortez.
Yeah, this is as good as it gets. This is a 10 out of 10 for me. It's so jam-packed. And I keep on thinking about when we had that, Games Cast where Grubb was on along with Paris, and we walked through the lineup of all of these different titles. We're like, there's no way this is there. There's no way this is there. And then the more and more that I kept on remembering Jeff Grubb saying there's going to be 30 games, it's like, shit, maybe they are going to be there. And I was so surprised that, I'm so surprised by how jam-packed this was that Perfect Dark wasn't the one last thing. That South of Midnight? South of Midnight was not the one. There was so many of those titles that we've known are in production. We know that these teams have been working on them. When are we going to see them next? And those are middle of the showcase things to show off. Blown away by it's an embarrassment of riches in this showcase that Xbox had. And it's just a lot of awesome looking games with a lot of really awesome unknown stuff. Mm-hmm. That's the thing that holy shit, there's so many awesome titles in here that we did not know existed prior to today. And now that we do, it's add all of those to the calendars of what we need to play. And then Metal Gear Solid Delta. Holy shit. Throw that one in there too, just to bring all the goosebumps. Amazing.
Greg Miller.
Yeah, I think you've all nailed it and talked through the points very well. And I think what's, to be last voice on the panel right now, what's so fascinating is the amount of things you're bringing up that I didn't forget about, but I'm thinking about this other announcement. But then I go back to, Perfect Dark looked awesome. I totally slept on that, or I've forgotten that in my already downloading creations in the Starfield creation shop right now. I think it's a 10 out of 10 as well. I think it's a masterpiece. I think for me, I'm with Mike. With everybody, but Mike brought it up. I think of could have gone for more hard release dates, but 2024 is good enough. And again, it is the idea that, especially for me and what the Xbox fan I am, right? Okay, that guess what? There's a Starfield update out right now for me to go play when I get home, let alone all this creation stuff. Fallout 76 gets this update on Wednesday. That's outrageous, let alone then for looking for, a State of Decay I didn't even want to dream about in the Xbox preview show, right? And the fact that it's here, it was a new trailer. They're talking about using Unreal Engine 5 now or whatever on the wire. There's just, you can't throw a rock in any of this and not hit something like Metal Gear Solid Delta and be like, holy fuck, what a show this was. And I think, on a year where we were told to temper our expectations to some regard, right? In a year where we've talked much about how many leaks have happened and all these different things, Xbox was able to come out here and deliver a banger of a show. This is a showcase that feels on par with an E3.
Yeah, and I said something like this earlier, but I feel on par with any of Sony's best E3s. I feel it brought all of the stuff that you'd want to see from Xbox and what they can deliver now with the amount of teams that they have. And while it might have been lacking the hard release dates, I am shocked at how much gameplay we saw. I'm shocked that it was South of Midnight not only being there, but seeing such an extended gameplay
and
thing.
how important
Fable,
is that, right?
fuck,
Of
yeah.
doing the real thing, not just having trailers, do the trailer and then go in, not having an executive come out and talk about it for 10 minutes on top of that and like be weird. Have it, here's a tone piece, here's some gameplay of what it looks like.
Yeah, well, we now know what that game is, and we didn't going into this. That is so important. I feel like Perfect Dark, same thing. Like we kind of for some reason assumed it was third person. We see that, we know what that game is now. Like that is huge. And on top of that, we get new things like, what was it called? The 33
Expedition 33.
Yeah.
Ben Starr?
Come
that
the
was
fuck on, dude.
wild.
And so many things in between that we'll get to each and everything individually. But while we're just top level still, do you guys want to just talk about the show overall before we break everything down?
I just wanted to mention, like, I'm not too worried about the 2024. Like, I feel like right now, I got to assume that some of these games, if needed to, could launch in the next 2 to 3 months or so. But like, it kind of reminds me of a Nintendo situation where maybe it's like, let's see what happens the rest of the year. What else is being released? How do we put these puzzle pieces where they need to go that makes sense for us so that things don't get trampled on, but so that maybe we're also avoiding other stuff from other developers.
And while that's true, I just feel like we're at the point of they need to call the shots. Like it's late enough now for Indiana Jones with just a few months left in the year that I just feel like they're like, we got Indy, it's November. Other people, if you're considering putting something out, you should move out of the way.
Get out of our
these
way.
type of games. You get what I'm saying? Like I just think,
Yeah.
But at the same time, like Xbox has shown they can just do a developer_direct next month that does focus on, hey, we're giving the release dates for these projects that you know about, and like that could be really cool.
It's so wild that like Indiana Jones is the weakest thing to me on the showcase.
That's
like
wild.
that's how strong of a showcase it was. I wasn't too like blown away by what I saw gameplay wise there. I thought it was like kind of an oddly paced thing, but they want to show different environments, they want to show different characters, different little silly action moments you might get into. But yeah, I mean the Fable sequence that we saw there was just really damn cool, and I love the tone. I think they're just nailing it in every way they need to.
All right, we're gonna break every single thing down.